In this tutorial, we're going to look at three things: similar surd, conjugate, and surds in bracket. So before we now move to the final part, so let's look at what this one means. So if they say similar surd, so similar surd. So when you say similar surds, it means surds that have the same surd form. Like if you have 2 root 3, and let's say it's the same thing, similar to 3. These are similar surds because they have the same surd. So root 3 root 3. If you have 4 root 5, it's similar to 2 root 5. That is what similar surd is talking about. So if you have 5 root 7, is similar to 8 root 7. What you are concerned about is this surd something. So that's under similar surd. So let's now look at conjugate of a surd. So conjugate of a surd is talking about if I give you 3 root 2 minus 1. The conjugate of this surd is 3 root 2 plus what? Plus 1. Just know that. If I give you 5 root 7 minus let's say root 5. Now the conjugate of this surd is 5 root 7 plus root 5. You just change this minus here to plus. If I give you 6 root 3 minus 2 root, let's say root 15. Now the conjugate of this surd is 6 root 3 plus, you change the minus to plus, but let's assume I put plus there because I'll be dealing with minus. So if it's minus that is there, if it's if it's minus that is, if it's plus that is there, you change it to minus, that will be minus 2 root 15. So that is, these are what they are conjugates. Now we can also multiply this conjugate in a very, very simpler form. Once you see something that is in conjugate, then you can apply some knowledge to it. You don't need to go through stress of multiplying them, but they must be in the same thing. Let's assume now they said you should multiply this. We are given 3 root 2 3 root 2 minus 1. Then the conjugate of this thing is what? 3 root 2 plus 1. 3 root 2 plus 1. Now say you should multiply. So once you check that this thing are conjugate, the best way to do this is that you will square this. You take one of this, you square it, then you take one of all this also, what? You square it, then you subtract it from each other. That is how you're going to solve it. So what this thing is talking about, that this thing now, this will be 3 root 2 squared. Either is minus, because minus times plus is what? Is minus. So here will always be minus. 1 times 1, so you just say this one, what? 1 squared. So that is just it. So that is how to what? Multiply conjugate of what? Of a surd. This one is very easy. You know, this square will be 3 squared is what? Is 9. That is very simple something. So this square will cancel this square, remain what? 2. That will be 9 times 2. I'm just showing you the best way of multiplying this thing. Minus 1 square, you know, is what? Is 18. 18 minus 1 is what? That is what? That is 17. So this is how this works. So let me take another one. So under conjugate of, when you multiply conjugate of a surd, let's assume we are given 7 root what? Root 2 plus you have what? Root 3. Now what is the conjugate of this surd? The conjugate of this surd will be 7, sorry for the delay, 7 root 2 minus root 3. So you have to multiply. When you check that these are conjugates, I told you what you're going to do. This will be squared 7 root 2, because both of them the same thing. You're going to square this, that is this. Then plus times minus is still minus. There's no how you want to do it. Then this root 3, you just what? I'm going to square it also. So no, 7 squared, no, this squared is affecting this 7. So 7 squared is 49 times, then this root square will cancel this root. So 7 times 2, so 49 times 2 minus this one also we cancel this one, minus what, minus 3. So that is just it. So 49 times 2, I think that should give us 8. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1, that is 98, right? If I'm right, I'm sure I'm right. Minus what, minus 3. So 98 minus 3 is what, is 95. So this is under conjugate of a surd. So let's now look at multiplication of conjugate of a surd. That one is that is that for that. So let's now look at how we can deal with surds in brackets. Though it's similar to what I explained earlier. Let's assume somebody gave you something like they said surd in, well, let me write surds so that you understand. Surds in bracket. Now this always, if you have the background knowledge of this, then to move further will be very easier for you. So let's assume somebody gave you something like this. Says you should multiply 3 root 5 plus what, plus 2. You have to multiply it with let's say this is not conjugate, this 5 plus what, root 3, 5 root 5 plus 3. Now what I'm going to do is that you take this as if you are multiplying your lower basic level. Now if I give you something like s plus y, then you have, let's say you have 2x plus, let's say, plus m. You have to use this one to multiply this and what, and this one will spread across. Now you do this 3 root 5 times root 5, 3 root 5 times 3. So what I always tell my students is that this 3 root 5, you bring it up. You are going to use this to multiply both of this. You bring this 3 root 5 out. You now put a entire of all this, you put it beside it. Root 5 plus what, plus 3. Close the bracket. Now this one is 2. The same thing, just plus 2. What is here also, you put it at the back of it. This is root 5 plus what, plus 3. If you are finding it difficult to multiply this, because students always make mistake of that. Now I told you that an invisible one here, there will be 3 times 1 is what, is 3. Root 5 times root 5 is what, root 25. Now 3 times 3, this is what's 9. Root 5 is at the back, you just put the root 5 there. So this one does not have root. The 3 will just multiply the number at the back. Plus, this will be, there's an invisible 1 here, 2 times 1, that is 2. Then root what? Root 5. Then 2 times 3 is what? Is 6. So when you continue with this, what do we have now? You know that root 25 is 5, right? 5 times 3 will give us what? That will give us 15. Plus 9 root what? Root 5 plus 2 root what? Root 5 plus what? Plus 6. When you check this number, and don't add, I told you earlier that unless they have the same, that's when you can add. You can't add this and this together, neither can you add this and this together. So I will collect like times. So these are numbers. So I can use 15 plus 6 plus, because this and this, they have the same surd, so I can add them. 9 root what? Root 5 plus 2 root what? Root 5. Just bringing this down, so there's no more space again. Just allow me to write it here. So this is 15 plus 6 is 21. So that is 21. Now, 9 root 5 plus 2 root 5. This 9, we had this 2. 9 plus 2 is what? That is 11, right? Then both of them have root 5. So you just take one of the root 5. So this is your final answer. So this is dealing with bracketing. And if you have an understanding of this, it will be very easier for you to move on. So you can pause the video and copy it. Let me take one more question before I leave. Let's assume you have root 2 here. You give something like this one is even more simpler. Then you have what? Root 2 plus what? Plus root 6. Now if you are given this, now this is what you do. This will be, you spread this thing. That will be root 2 times root 2. That is 2. Or you can say root 4. You still get it. But for those of you that may still find that loss of surd difficult. So root 2 times root 6. That will give us what? Root 12, if I'm right. Or 6 times 2 is 12. Now root 4 is 2, we know that. Now this one into basic form is 4 times 3. We know we did this earlier. So this will now be equal to 2 plus root 4, it is what? 2 root 3. Someone now say, okay, can I add this thing? 2 plus 2, 4 root 3. No, you can't do this. This is your final answer because this one does not have root 3 at the back. So this is it. So let's take one more. Let's assume we are giving something like this. This is the last one I'm going to take now. Let's assume we are giving something like this. They give you, let's include, you have 4 root what? Root 3 plus. Now note that all this question is from the textbook we're using, the New General Mathematics. And if you have an Essential Mathematics for senior secondary school, 3 is what is also there. So you see this question there. I'm not getting this question often. I'm just working based on the textbook, so that if your teacher, before your teacher comes to the class, you already understand what he or she wants to take you. It's just to give you a background knowledge of this particular sort. Now, as I said earlier, I'm going to use this 4 with 3. I'll put this one at the side, use this one and put it at the side. But if you are very perfect in multiplication, you can do it like this, no problem. But let's make things easier for ourselves. So this 4 with 3, I'm picking this. I need to multiply the whole of this. I'll put this one beside it. I have 4 with 3 minus 2 with what? With 5. So I'll close the bracket. What do we have here? Next is plus 2 with 2. That is plus what? Plus 2 with 5. Sorry, not 2 with 2. Then you open a bracket. That will be 4 with what? With 3 minus 2 with what? With 5. We check that what is inside is the same that is inside here. So let's now multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. Root 3 times root 3. No, it's 3, but let's make it easier for ourselves. That is root 9, right? 4 times minus 2. That is minus 8, right? Root 3 times root 5 will give us root 15. So we are done with this side. Let's move to the next one. This is plus times 4. That is plus. There's an invisible plus there. Plus times plus is what? Is plus. 2 times 4, it is 8, right? Root 5 times root 3 is root 15. Now, plus times minus is minus. 2 times 2, it is what? It is 4. Root 5 times root 5 is root 25. Let's take things easy. Now, this one is 3. Root 9 is 3. We multiply that 3 with 16. 16 times 3 will give us 48. Minus this one, you can't, this is already in basic form. There's nothing you can do here. Plus what? 8 what? 8 root what? Root 15 minus what? 4. No, this is 5, right? Root 25 is 5. 5 times 4 is what? This is what? 20. So this minus 8 root 15 plus 8 15, they will cancel because this one is plus, this one is minus. Just having plus y minus y, it should cancel out because they are the same thing. If I have minus 2y plus 2y, it should cancel out. If you have what is it again? So if minus, because they are the same thing, they have the same number, one is plus, the other one is minus, so they are not going, they will be cancelled out. So what you have is now what? 48 minus what? Minus 20, and 48 minus 20 will give us what? Will give us 28. So this is dealing with what? Operation in what? In bracket in surd. So let's move on. We are going to move on to the next one. It's going to be on rationalization of surd, which students find difficult. I'm going to make it explanatory to you.